Abia held at home. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Express on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Mukhtar Kasim. A quick reminder, Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. And now, the news in details. The federal government has established a committee to investigate an explosion at the Defense Industries Corporation of Nigeria complex in Kaduna State. Managing Director of the Beacon Security and Intelligence and the former head of security at the Senate, Kabir Adamu, disclosed this during a press briefing. 2 workers, including a military officer, had been reportedly killed, and 4 others were injured after an explosion hit the corporation's factory in the Kurumin Gwari area of Kaduna Metropolis on Saturday. And the former national chairman of the All Progressive Congress, APC, Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, has assured Nigerians of the commitment of President Bola Tinubu to end security threats bedeviling parts of the country. To complement this effort, special prayers have been offered by the Ganduje Foundation in Kano State. Global Television correspondent Idris Jibrin has details.
Alongside senior religious scholars, Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje says the prayer session is also for the peaceful coexistence and religious tolerance among Nigerians.
We all pray. All political parties are requested to pray for peace and stability of this country, because the peace, we are all beneficiaries of peace and stability in this country.
The occasion also featured the administration of the Shahada to 280 new converts under the Ganduje Foundation.
To Allah zai biya wannan bukata. Idan Allah ba zai biya wannan bukatar ba zai baka iko ka daga hannu ba. Amma san da duk ka daga hannu tabbatar Allah zai biya maka bukatar ka.
The former chairman of the APC assured them of the foundation's support under its economic and social empowerment program.
It's not by force at all. It is through dialogue. It's only when they agree. If they don't agree, they have their own right and remain in the condition which they decide to find themselves.
Each of them also received Islamic books to guide them on the theories and practice of Islam.
Let's now head to Sokoto State, where the government has announced its recruitment exercise for graduates to commence on Monday, September 22 and run until October 6, 2025. In a statement released, the Secretary of the Recruitment Committee, Gandhi Mohammed, said that the process was aimed at providing employment opportunities for qualified indigents of the state. He also stated that interested applicants are expected to obtain forms free of charge from their local government of origin before completing the process online at the official portal. And now moving to Imo State, the police command says it is winning the battle against crime. At a press briefing in Owerri, Commissioner of Police in the state, Aboki Danjuma, announced the arrest of more than 700 suspects in just 2 months, alongside the rescue of kidnapped victims and the recovery of weapons. Our correspondent, Amarachi Ibe, has details of the report.
According to Commissioner of Police Aboki Danjuma, the suspects were linked to crimes ranging from armed robbery and cultism to terrorism associated with IPOB and ESN, murder and other violence offenses. He said 9 kidnapped victims and 7 stolen children were rescued, while firearms, ammunition, explosives, stolen motorcycles, laptops, charms and hard drugs were recovered.
During the period under review, the command arrested a total number of 957 criminal suspects for the offenses ranging from kidnapping, armed robbery, cultism, to terrorism linked to IPOB and ESN, child trafficking, murder, stealing.
The CP highlighted the dismantling of IPOB and ESN terrorist camps in Okigwe, Mbitolu and Njaba local government areas. He explained that 16 suspects, including sub-commanders, were captured in Nuguta after a fierce gun battle. A notorious kingpin was also arrested in Mbitolu, while 4 other suspected cultists were rounded up in Isialambano.
In synergy with other security agencies, the command also dislodged iPod ESN camps, kidnapping dens in Okigwe, Mbitoli, Owerri West, Njaba local governments, and other areas in the state, striking decisive blow to the capacity for further attacks. On 16th of September, the executive governor of Imo State, in which he sent one of his representatives here to witness this event. His Excellency, Distinguished Senator Hope Uzodimma, for his consistent support in welfare and logistics, which has greatly boosted our operational capacity. I also thank the Inspector General of Police, IGP Kayode Egbetokun, PhD, whose guidance has been instrumental to our successes.
The commissioner assured residents that security agencies will sustain the momentum until peace and safety are fully restored across the state. From Owerri, Amarachi Ibe, reporting for Global TV News.
Now, in a world of constant scrolling, streaming, and social media buzz, the question of whether Nigerians are still reading remains on the table. While some believe the reading culture is fading, others argue it's evolving into new forms. Global Television's correspondent Ubong Usoro reports.
Nigeria's literary tradition is celebrated worldwide, but concerns linger whether the younger generation is sustaining it. Critics point to shorter attention span and a shift away from the books, while many young Nigerians insist that reading is far from dead.
From my experience, and because I am still in school, from what I have seen, most of them still read. I don't think we have more first class or more students that read as much as they did, like I said, as they did back in the day.
For others, technology is reshaping the culture. E-books, audiobooks, and online platforms are creating fresh avenues for accessing knowledge and literature.
Some years past, I know people hardly read, more especially in terms of your phone. Everybody preferred like all this kind of video stuff and everything, but nowadays I would say that people are trying to imbibe in reading like the old times, because they are more into the books than what people can normally say and all those kind of stuff.
Educationists are balancing digital platforms with traditional reading as a key to reviving Nigeria's reading culture, ensuring that knowledge survives in an age of distractions. Ubong Usoro for Global Television.
Let's return to Kano State, where former National Chairman of the All Progressive Congress, APC, Dr. Abdullahi Ganduje, has congratulated the immediate past Vice-Chancellor of Bayero University, Kano, Professor Ademo Abbas, having successfully served the university for 5 years. During a grand academic salute in honor of Abbas, academicians acknowledged the transformative leadership of the former VC within the last 5 years. Global Television correspondent Idris Jibrin was there and files in this report.
Organized by the former First Lady of Kano State, Professor Hafsat Ganduje, the event is a celebration of academic excellence, transformative leadership and legacies of the immediate past Vice-Chancellor of the Bayero University, Kano. According to the former chairman, Professor Sagir's visionary leadership and transformative achievement have brought growth and development to Bayero University. The aim of the program was also to further recognize the contributions of some notable Nigerians, including the Minister of State for Education, the incoming and the outgoing Vice-Chancellors of the university for their contributions to the development of education sector in Nigeria.
Bayero University, and this award at the same time is laying a solid foundation for your administration. You inherited a successful leadership, and from what we know, from what we see, from what we anticipate, is another successful university leadership.
For the convener of the Grand Salute, Professor Hafsat Ganduje, The success of Professor Abbas is a collective victory for Bayero University and Nigeria's education sector in general.
You can see how everything is coupling together. So I have been directed and I have been requested on behalf of the Bayero University.
While commending the convener, the outgoing VC, Professor Adamu Abbas, acknowledged the immense contribution of Abdullahi Ganduje and Professor Hafsat for the development of the university over the years.
I extend my thanks to the provost, the first provost of College of Education and Allied Studies, deans and heads of department, colleagues and students of the college and allied courses, and your commitment, sacrifices and loyalty gave meaning to our collective efforts. Today's event is not about me alone. It is about all of us who labored to move Bayero University forward despite lean resources, numerous expectations, and unprecedented global challenges.
Highlight of the event include presentation of awards to some promoted professors of the Bayero University, Kano, as well as recognition of the incoming Vice Chancellor, Professor Haruna Musa. From Kano, Idris Jubrin, reporting for Global Television News.
Now, fire disasters remain a recurring tragedy across Nigeria, from crowded markets to office buildings and residential areas, leaving destruction and heartbreak in their wake. The question is, how can these outbreaks be prevented? Our correspondent, Sadia Yakubu, takes a look at what can be done to prevent these recurring incidents.
Over the years, fire incidents have become a common trend Nigerians are familiar with, often as a result of factors that could be prevented. Buildings and properties are reduced to ashes. According to experts, these incidents are as a result of poor electrical wiring, absence of fire extinguishers, and lack of emergency exits in crowded spaces, among others. Weak enforcement of building codes and poor access to firefighting facilities also contribute to these outbreaks.
I think a lot of the causes of the fire outbreak is actually negligence by people. Some people are very negligent and they leave things like their gases and different things out, and they're not very careful. And I think it can be prevented when people are more careful. Like, people should actually put precaution, and they should know that, like, when fire incidents happen, a lot of people lose their lives, lose their properties and things that they've worked hard for.
To curb these reoccurring tragedies, safety experts are calling for stricter building regulations, mandatory fire alarms and extinguishers in public spaces, and more fire stations equipped with modern technology. They also emphasize the need for awareness campaigns and regular community fire drills.
I think the fire service, provide like regular emergency drills for the people in the building or in an organization, and also we should have like the body go regularly to check, do like a regular check to make sure those fire systems actually working.
Beyond government action, communities too have a role to play, from volunteer fire brigades to market safety committees and early warning systems. Grassroots involvement could significantly reduce the fire risk.
While fire outbreaks may never be completely eliminated, their impact can be minimized with stronger equipment and a collective culture of safety. Nigerians can begin to break the cycle of reoccurring fire disaster. Sadia Yakubu, Global Television News.
You are watching the live broadcast of News Express. When News Express returns, Paris Saint-Germain star Dembele expected to beat Yamal to Ballon d'Or. Details coming shortly, plus business and foreign stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us. You're welcome back from that break, and if you're just tuning in, this is the live broadcast of News Express on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Mukhtar Kasim. And now to business news, where Nigeria says it is intensifying efforts to become a global player in livestock export as part of its wider push to diversify the economy away from oil. A joint study by the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization and the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development projects that global per capita consumption of animal source food will rise by 6% by 2034, with lower middle income countries expected to post a dramatic 24% increase. Analysts believe rising global demand for meat and dairy offers Nigeria a chance to unlock a multi-billion naira export industry while strengthening food security at home. Still talking business, manufacturers in some parts of Africa are lobbying the United States Congress to grant a last-ditch extension of 1 to 2 years to a duty-free trade program, the African Growth and Opportunities Act, which is due to expire at the end of September. United States President Donald Trump's aggressive tariff policies have cast doubt on the prospects for the renewal of the trade initiative, which was passed in 2000 under former President Bill Clinton to provide duty-free access to the United States market for thousands of products. The Energy Governance Alliance, a coalition advocating transparency and reforms in Nigeria's oil and gas industry, has commended the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission and its chief executive, Gbenga Komolafe, for restoring investors' confidence in the country's petroleum sector, describing it as one of the early fruits of the Petroleum Industry Act and the reform agenda of President Bola Tinubu. In a statement by its executive director, Kelvin William, the organization said before the current administration and the present leadership at the NUPRC, the environment for international investors in the oil and gas sector was increasingly hostile. It noted that the climate of uncertainty, aggravated by regulatory bottlenecks, policy inconsistency, and frequent disruptions with host communities, forced many international oil companies to scale up back or divest, leading to a sharp decline in investor confidence. And now to news making rounds on the international scene, where polling stations have closed in Guinea after a referendum on a new constitution that could pave way for elections but also allow country's junta leader, General Mamadi Doumbouya, to run for president. Our correspondent completes the report.
Voting was held under tight security, with 45,000 officers deployed and heavy military presence visible across the capital, Conakry, and beyond. Some 6.7 million Guineans were eligible to cast their vote, though turnout varied across the country. The Yes campaign dominated the street with rallies, posters, and music, while the No campaign was limited mostly to social media and exiled voices abroad. Opposition parties had called for a boycott, accusing the military government of suppressing dissent through arrests, bans, and media crackdown. Still, many citizens turned out hoping for an end to the military transition that began in 2021 when Doumbouya seized power from elected President Alpha Condé. Critics argued that the draft constitutions opened the door for Doumbouya's candidacy, while supporters say it will restore the constitutional order after 4 years of junta rule. Provisional results of the referendum are expected Tuesday evening. For many Guineans, the outcome will decide not only the country's political future, but also whether military rule finally gives way to civilian leadership. Mukhtar Kasim, reporting for Global Television News.
Moving to Europe, where in a landmark decision, Britain has formally recognized the State of Palestine, marking a major shift in decades of British foreign policy. Our correspondent completes the story.
British Prime Minister Keir Starmer announced the recognition in a video message posted on X, saying the move is intended to revive the hope of peace through a two-state solution, a safe and secure Israel alongside a viable Palestinian state.
I set out in July the terms upon which we would act in line with our manifesto to recognise Palestinian statehood. That moment has now arrived. So today, to revive the hope of peace and a two-state solution, I state clearly, as Prime Minister of this great country, that the United Kingdom formally recognises the State of Palestine. We recognized the State of Israel more than 75 years ago as a homeland for the Jewish people. Today, we join over 150 countries who recognize a Palestinian state also.
The Prime Minister also condemned Hamas as a brutal terror organization, vowing tougher sanctions, and reiterated his call for the release of hostages taken in the October 7 attack. The announcement comes hours after Canada and Australia also recognized Palestinian statehood, sparking immediate criticism from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who warned the move would endanger Israel's security. But Starmer insisted the recognition was not a reward for Hamas, stressing that the militant group would play no role in a future Palestinian state. With violence continuing in Gaza and Israeli settlement expanding in the West Bank, Starmer warned that the hope of a two-state solution is fading, saying Britain cannot allow the vision to disappear. Mukhtar Qasim, reporting for Global Television News.
Now, the recent wave of youth protests demanding change from Africa to Asia and now South America, where young people are calling for justice, opportunity, and a voice in shaping their nation's future, has continued to grow. Our international correspondent, Edikon Michael, now reports.
Recent incident in Kenya, Bangladesh, Nepal, and Peru is now serving as stark reminders. We're now seeing young voices who have been ignored or suppressed now on the streets of making different nations a massive protest for calling for change. Now in Kenya, vibrant protests erupted over economic disparity, the police brutality and lack of employment opportunities. Young leaders had called for reforms and accountability, but their grievances have remained unresolved. Similarly, in Bangladesh and Nepal, young protesters mobilized against political corruption, ineffective governance, and social inequalities that hinder progress and threaten their stability, which has led to change of government. In Peru just yesterday, economic hardship and governance crisis had fueled the widespread demonstration demanding change. Now, the common threads are clear. These young people feel left behind, unheard, and disillusioned. Many experts, however, believe that governments at all levels must rise up to address issues of corruption, political injustice, and governance failures, and also tackle systematic issues such as poverty, inequality, and governance failure that fuel this frustration and unrest, and to invest in the development and long-term plannings of this nation. Edika Michael reporting from England for Global Television News.
And now talking sport, where Kwara United have begun their 2025-2026 continental campaign with a narrow 4-3 defeat away to Ghanaian outfit Asante Kotoko in the first leg of their CAF Confederations Cup encounter played at the Baba Yara Stadium in Kumasi. The Harmony Boys, who are bidding to secure a place in the group stages of the competition this season, went down in the 18th minute courtesy of a goal from Emmanuel Antwi, before John Atuli leveled matters in the 34th minute. However, Kotoko retook the lead on the stroke of half-time through Albert Amwa, but Kwara proved a resilient force as they equalized deep into the half-stoppage time after Atuli got his brace. Still talking sports, Paris Saint-Germain forward Ousmane Dembele is tipped to hold off Barcelona sensation Lamine Yamal and win the men's Ballon d'Or on Monday, while Atianda Bonmati could win a third consecutive women's prize. The world of football will gather for a glitzy ceremony at the Théâtre de Charlotte in Paris to discover who will be the next winners of an award dominated for so long by Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. The duo won the Ballon d'Or 13 times between them from 2008 to 2023. As Global Television News Express comes to an end, here is a recap of our top stories. The federal government has established a committee to investigate an explosion at the Defense Industries Corporation of Nigeria complex in Kaduna State. In business, manufacturers in some parts of Africa are lobbying the United States Congress to grant a last-stage extension of 1 or 2 years to a duty-free trade program, the African Growth and Opportunities Act, which is due to expire at the end of September. And from the international scene, we brought to you that polling stations have closed in Guinea after a referendum on a new constitution that could pave way for elections, but also allow the country's junta leader, General Doumbouya, to run for president. And in sport, Kwara United began their 2025-2026 Continental campaign with a narrow 4-3 away defeat to Ghanaian outfit Asante Kotoko in the first leg of their CAF Confederations Cup encounter played at the Baba Yara Stadium in Kumasi. And that's it on News Express. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen using a Global Television NG. I am Mukhtar Kasim. Saying a very big thank you for watching.